Now that you made your juniper bundle, or you bought something, or you have a different kind of bundle, what are you going to do with it? Like, what would you use it for? And so I want to share some of the practices and rituals that I have, that I use with smoke medicine, and you can make up your own too, right? I think that as long as you're working with the plant in a respectful way, then do whatever you want, right? Like, you don't have to follow any specific rules. I just want to kind of share like what's worked for me, what I've been taught, and what I have in my practice that it might inspire you to do something. So, in particular, when you're working with juniper, the really cool thing about it, I mean, there's like so many cool things about it, is that the smoke of the juniper is both uplifting and grounding at the same time, which is like a really nice element to bring, right? Because a lot of times when you think about smoke, it's up in the air, and very on the uplifting side, but this has that element as well as like keeping you anchored in the space. Um, and also, juniper is very protective. People like to hang juniper boughs over their doorway or in their windows above the fireplace, like different places where energy might come in or enter that you want to just kind of protect your space. So, even just the plant itself has been used in that protective capacity. So when you're using the smoke, it also brings that element. So if you're casting spells, and you just want to make sure that you're working with like clear and clean energy, the juniper will help support that. And you can use smoke medicine to cleanse yourself, your physical body, someone else's like physical body, but like energetic body. So your own, someone else's, or you can use it to cleanse a space. I use this actually particular juniper stick that I made for a sister moon circle. So before anyone enters into the sacred space of our circle, we cleanse each other off with the juniper. And the way that I do that and the way that I work with it is I like to bring in all four of the elements so they can kind of all be in this space and work together. So, and again, like if that doesn't work for you, that doesn't work for you. You can just use your juniper stick it on its own. So we have juniper, which acts as the earth, right? And then you have a lighter, which is your fire, or you could really make it even more ceremonial with a candle. And so this is your fire, this is your earth, and you can bring in the water element with a seashell that I use to kind of hold my stick. And as you're using it, you can use the shell underneath it to catch any of the embers. And then to bring in the air, I like to use a feather. And this feather is special to me. It's a turkey feather that I found in my yard. So it kind of is like bringing in some of that land and the energy of the space too. So what you want to do is you want to light your bundle. And it might take a few tries before you really like get it going. And you might need to blow on it a little bit. And it's okay if the string catches fire too, but you might want to cut the string away. Make sure you use good fire safety protocols. And so once you get it smoking, and you might have to relight it a couple of times. Once you get it smoking, then you see you have your smoke, and then you can use your feather to kind of waft the smoke where you want it to go. And again, if you don't have a feather, you can just kind of use the smudge stick itself. And the way that I like to do it when I'm cleansing myself or another body is I typically start from the top down. I like to focus on the different chakra centers. So cleansing like the crown space, coming down to the third eye. It smells so good. The throat, And you want to do this on the front side and the back side. In particular, like the back of your throat, back of your neck is sometimes where stuff can kind of linger or try to get in. And then your heart and down your arms, because your arms are an extension of your heart, and down the body, so on and so on. And I also like sometimes to lift up one foot at a time and get the bottom of the feet, depending on how thorough you want to be. And you can hold an intention while you're doing that cleansing, right? To kind of just clear the energetic space of anything negative while you're going through that practice. And then you can also use the smoke medicine to physically, I keep saying physically, but it's really energetically, to clear a physical space, like a room. Like if you have an argument with your partner, your roommate, your family, whatever, and you want to clear the air and kind of get that tension and get that energy out of the space, you can use the smoke to do that. And then there's a whole practice that you can do to do a more thorough cleansing of a space, which I tend to do at least once a year. And spring is coming up, so this is a good time, right? You're doing your spring cleaning of like maybe your closet and your drawers and all of that. And if you want to clear a room or a home, I go through room by room. And what I do is I take the smoke, right, and I take my feather, and you want to go, before you start, you want to make sure the doors or a window is open, because you need the energy to have somewhere to go. So you crack a window, leave a door open while you're doing this, so the energy has somewhere to move to out of the space. So you start by going 3 times counterclockwise around the space, making sure that you kind of move the smoke up into the corners, up to the ceiling. I'm usually like walking on furniture across the bed, like getting into all the nooks and crannies. So counterclockwise. And as you're going counterclockwise, you're clearing. And I like to speak out loud. And you can do this in your head, or you can do it out loud to say what I'm clearing from this space. So I'm clearing negativity, I'm clearing anger, I'm clearing bitterness, whatever it might be, as I'm doing my 3 times around the room. And then what's very important is once you clear a space energetically, you want to fill the space. Because if you don't fill the space, something or someone else will. Like the universe is like, oh cool, empty space, let me fill that in. It's kind of like when you clear your yard, weeds are going to come. Nature's going to be like, oh cool, here's some empty space, let me put some weeds here. Or you can intentionally say like, no, I'm going to grow some vegetables or some flowers here. So you decide what goes in the space. So after you clear it, you want to then go around the room 3 times clockwise, speaking out loud what you are inviting in. So I'm inviting in joy, inviting in love, I'm inviting in happiness, whatever it might be, abundance, like whatever it might be. So then 3 times clockwise, same deal, like getting it up into the corners, really feeling into it. And then you're done. Then you go on to the next room. So it takes a little while if you really go through this whole protocol. But I mean, believe me, you can really truly feel a difference. And I personally think the time is worth it to do that. So I think that's everything I wanted to share about my practices that I use. Mugwort is also really nice. I have a lot of mugwort wands that I work with. And I do have some gifted sage and some gifted Palo Santo. See the rest of the newsletter for some notes about using sage and Palo Santo safely and sustainably. They're being over-harvested. It's the medicine of indigenous people that's very, very sacred. And so it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to use it. Some people say like don't use it at all if it's not your medicine, but I leave that decision to you. But I just am sharing this information so you can use it or not use it in an informed way. But there's plenty of other plants that can be used for cleansing and clearing, like juniper, mugwort, lavender, rosemary, things that you can easily grow. You can even grow your own sage too, right? Things that you can easily grow and harvest or find in abundance because they're called, in some cases, invasive, like my pretty mugwort. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful. And I hope that you try to do some of this work and do some of this cleansing. I find so much joy working with smoke. I find it so powerful, and so like just the scent and the aromatherapy of it all, like really, to me, is like I can feel it in my heart, and I feel it resonates with me very deeply. Like we all have our great 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 grandparents in some far back part of our lineage used smoke medicine at some point, and I can really feel that when I'm working with it. So enjoy and let me know how it goes. Thank you.